welcome back to One on One. We have a show for you today that you're going to love. Very different. Not quite music, not quite poetry, beautiful blend of the two. My name is Vin Dacquino. Our guests today are Sam Apicella and Ben Eisenkraft. Hey guys, welcome to the show.
Hey, how's it going?
You have some very special things to share with us today. Can't wait to share that with the audience. But before we get there, talk to me a little bit about who you guys are. Sam, I know you are a poet. I've read a number of your things. Love your work.
Thank you.
Ben, you are a musician. The two of you figured out a way to blend your passions. That's what this show is all about. It's about passions that people have. And you have a passion to deliver a message. You found a wonderful vehicle to do it. The audience is going to get a taste of that in a little while. But in the meantime, talk to me a little bit about who you are and what you do.
Okay, well, like you said, my name's Samantha, and I've forever been a writer ever since I could remember. As you said, I write a lot of poetry. I go to the Mayapack Public Library writers group. Writing is just something that comes naturally to me that I love to do. So I just started doing some spoken word poetry with my boyfriend Ben here. And we don't officially have a name yet or anything like that, but it's something that I feel is a lost art that needs to be brought back.
So I'd like to pick up on what you said. Spoken word poetry. But it's spoken word poetry to music. And you're a bass player.
Well, I'm actually a guitar player, bass player, multi-instrumentalist. So pretty much I've been an admirer of Sam's poetry ever since I met her, and she really has a talent for it. And so basically she came to me one day and she's like, I want to do something a little more with this poetry. She had the idea to put some music to it, and the first thing that came to my mind was bass guitar.
Yeah,
just
wow.
fits the mood, very chill, mellow kind of sound. And we sort of went from there. I came up with some riffs. She dug up some poems that, she's had over the years and sort of revamped them in a way. And what we brought together was just, it sounded awesome. Mm-hmm. So we brought it to the public, did a couple small little coffee house shows, and it seemed to get some good response.
And you're a musician. You're in a group?
Mm-hmm. I'm in a group called Sticky Trigger. We're a local rock band, hard rock band. I play lead guitar in the band. I'm also a songwriter, backup vocals. And
you sing?
Backup vocals. Yeah, we're pretty local, getting our start right now. We've,
What's the name of the group again?
Sticky Trigger.
Okay, wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
So you play at local places, and you decided to meld your passion with her passion. Mm-hmm. And put it together and create this spoken poetry.
Yeah, I mean, it's something, like I said, I feel like it's a lost art. It's something that a lot of people did in the 1960s, and a lot of what inspires me.
Yeah, this is kind of a throwback. It's like a coffee house throwback.
Yeah.
I like it. I have to admit that I was in that coffee house era, and I loved it. I love the fact that, you get up and you hear music and you hear poetry. Poetry is a strange art. When I was teaching, I would say to the students, well, our next unit is going to be poetry. First thing was,
Yeah.
And it always killed me because most of these kids didn't know anything about poetry. The only thing they really picked up was that poetry was, and poetry isn't. Poetry is exciting, and it's a wonderful way to express your feelings. Sam, talk to me a little bit about the feelings. What are these messages that you're trying to say in this poetry?
Well, I talk about all different kinds of things. Like in our song that I'm going to do a little later, Everything is Fine, I use a lot of metaphors to basically express how a lot of things happen in this world, a lot of shocking things, and a lot of people turn a blind eye and act like everything's fine, when we really need to wake up to the real issues. But then again, poetry is such a varied, wide range thing. Like you could spans from Shakespeare to Edgar Allan Poe to someone like Jim Morrison, who's like my biggest inspiration. So anybody can interpret our songs and my poetry in whatever way they would like to.
Yeah. I used to drive my students nuts when they would come to me and they'd say, Mr. Dacquino, can the poem be long? I say, yeah. Oh, can it be short? Yeah. Can it be funny? Yeah. Can it be sad? Yeah. They go, come on. It can be anything. Mm-hmm. Anything you feel. You're writing about what you feel. You're making a statement. And it could be funny, it could be sad, it could be long, it could be short, it could rhyme, it doesn't have to rhyme. Does your work usually rhyme or not rhyme?
It depends on what I'm writing.
Yeah.
If sometimes it just kind of happens where it happens to rhyme, but other times I sometimes feel like the poems that do rhyme, and this is just my personal opinion, don't always have as much of an impact as the ones that don't. That's just my opinion. Mm-hmm. Sometimes I find the ones that rhyme are a little too sing-songy, but I do have poems that rhyme. Not to discredit them, but I usually, for the most part, like to write poems that don't rhyme.
Okay, yeah, and that's again perfectly fine.
Yeah.
Sometimes, and it's a little bit of a gripe I have with teaching English, especially at a high school level. I mean, it's not a gripe. It's what you have to do is you give a little buffet to your students. Mm-hmm. You know, you give a little bit of this and a little bit of that. And you want them to get a sense of all the different kinds of poetry. And not so that they'll write only that type of poetry, but that they'll understand that there's different ways to write.
Exactly.
So once they get that variety, unfortunately, time constraints don't allow a teacher to give students an opportunity to truly experiment in any one of those. Mm-hmm. So they get a little bit of Longfellow, and they get a little bit of McEwen, and they get a little bit of everything, but not enough to really sink their teeth into one type of poetry in particular, or two. What I try to get them to do is to focus on the theme of the poem. What are you trying to say? And some poems lend themselves to rhyme. Some don't. I mean, and some sound silly. I remember a little joke from years ago where a guy came to the door with a singing telegram. And the man said, or he came with a telegram, an important telegram, and the man said, I want it to be a singing telegram. The guy said, no, you don't. He said, yes, I do. He said, no, I don't think so. Not this telegram. He said, I want a singing telegram. He said, all right. Da-da-da-da-da-da, your sister Rose, he died, and everybody cried. You know, some poems can't be lyrical.
Exactly.
You know, they're serious.
Yeah.
So you do a very serious type of poem usually?
Yeah, like I really want people to think about what I'm writing. And that's why I draw from Jim Morrison. He wrote things that make you think. The meaning's not directly said. You kind of have to dig deeper. So I want things that'll make people think, and I create things to make an impact on the readers.
Yeah, makes sense. What are some of the issues that you need to cover? I know that I also know that you were working on a novel.
Yes.
And it's a wonderful young adult novel.
Thank you.
And it's about kids today and some of the things that they face. What are some of those issues that make you nuts, Sam?
Well, the novel is called Through Her Voice. I'm trying to get it published at the moment. And basically, what I write about in the novel is kind of like what this girl goes through, how her friends kind of betrayed her, which is something that I have personally gone through. Mm-hmm. And because girls in teenage years can be very vicious, so I mentioned that. I mention how she used to date this kid that wasn't really doing good things. He was going down the wrong path, but you also get to hear his side and his perspective and how he's trying to change himself. For the most part, you know, a lot of kids in high school nowadays, they don't know, and not just nowadays, but like back then, they don't really know where they're going exactly. And this is kind of about that. This is about Rusty, the guy, and her. She doesn't have a name because I don't think the name matters. They're trying to find themselves in the world. And Rusty starts to wonder if he's heading in the right direction. He doesn't want to be a loser his whole life. He doesn't want to keep doing drugs. He doesn't want to keep hanging out with these people. He wants to make a change in his life. And I think it'll impact not just teenagers, but adults as well. And I think a lot of the issues that that teens face today are in that novel, and I think I covered it really well in that novel through personal experiences. It is fictional, but through personal experiences, through people that I've met, everything like that.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting because let me tell you what your novel makes me think about. That sometimes we get confused. We call good kids bad kids because of what they do and the way they get involved in other things. When in truth, what we really have is a good kid on a bad path.
Exactly.
And that happens. And once this good kid gets on the bad path, it's very difficult to get off because a lot of the things that happen because of where he is, not who he is.
Exactly.
And that's what I love about your work, that you capture the fact that kids are human too. Kids are people. And sometimes people get off on the wrong path. Adults as well. And they need to see that. And probably the most difficult view is from the person who's on that path, because you can't see it.
Exactly.
And your book helps us see from a different perspective. It's a young perspective. It's a today perspective. We have a lot of wonderful writers writing about people your age. I'm thrilled when people your age write about your own situations because you have a first-hand view. You're right there on the front row. And you're able to capture a lot of those things. So now in your poetry, you're doing the same thing. You're capturing some very important issues. Talk to me about the two pieces that you're going to be presenting to us today.
Okay.
Yep,
well,
go
the
ahead.
first one is Everything is Fine, and that's basically what I talked about before. So whether it's a hurricane happening in the world or a tragedy, you know, you can't just say, well, everything is fine. You have to face the problem, and you have to try to conquer it, and you have to try to deal with it, and you can't turn a blind eye. The second piece we're going to do is called The Hollywood Vampires, and that is a tribute to a musical act, if anyone knows who Alice Cooper is. So it's Alice Cooper, Johnny Depp, Joe Perry, and a few other guys have a rock and roll cover band called The Hollywood Vampires. And it's basically a tribute to them and a tribute to the genre of rock and roll, which has always been something that is near and dear to me and also near and dear to Ben.
All right. Sam and Ben, I'm going to do something that I don't normally do. I'm going to shut up for 2 minutes while you get up. You're going to go over, and then I'm going to start talking again to tell you that we're going to have the wonderful opportunity of hearing the two of you perform. So head over to that stage, do your thing. This is going to be very surprising. When I first heard it, I said, so Sam, you're going to sing? And she said, no. And I said, so Ben, you're going to sing? And he said, no. I said, is anybody going to sing? And they said, no. Sam said, I'm going to recite a poem, and Ben's going to play bass, and you're going to get to hear this spoken word with musical background. So, without further ado, take it away, guys.
The door creaks, but no one blinks. Lightning strikes, the sun shines. Let's take a stroll through the woods. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. It's just tears taking a trip from the heavens to the earth. Drip, 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 drip. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Smile. Your new tattoo is a teacup. Not half full, just empty. It is what it is. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. Everything is fine. But no one blinks. Okay, and that was called Everything is Fine. The next one we're going to be doing is called The Hollywood Vampires. They come and go, they rock and roll. Eyes of gold, hearts of steel. Mr. Mojo rising, walks in heels. The music thrives, they help us heal. Help us feel, help us deal. They come and go, they rock and roll. Eyes of gold, hearts of steel. Mr. Mojo rising, walks in heels. The music thrives, they help us heal. Help us feel, help us steal. Draw from yourself. Don't hide, thrive and thrive and thrive. Listen live. Strum the beat, strum the strings. Make me feel something. They come and go, they rock and roll. Eyes of gold, hearts of steel. Mr. Mojo rising, walks in heels. The music thrives, they help us heal. Help us deal, help us feel. Help us heal, help us feel, help us deal. Help us heal, help us feel, help us deal. Help us heal, help us feel, help us deal. School's in.
Yeah. Very nice. Well, guys, come back over here. Let's talk about what you just did. So, you heard it here. It is exactly what you said, Sam. It is so much old coffee house. And it reminds me of the old beatnik days, you know, when you were done, you weren't supposed to clap. You had to snap your fingers.
That's what my mom always said.
Yeah. So it was, and it was great, you know, and they did exactly that. They sat, had a cup of coffee, and they had these acts, and that's where people like Janis Joplin and a lot of these people started to come up. You know, it's a relaxed atmosphere, an opportunity to listen and to hear what the artists have to say. So I hope this brings back the coffee house era. I loved it. I really enjoyed just going sitting and relaxing. In a way, it's a concert, but it's sort of a sit-down concert.
Exactly.
Yeah, and it's just a whole new atmosphere.
I think at the same time, it brings a little more energy to, you know, what would normally be poetry. Whereas people, when they go out to see a show, they want to see something exciting. And not that poetry isn't exciting. Words themselves could be exciting, but the music added to it, especially a catchy beat, repetitive, bluesy kind of beat.
The key to what you guys are doing is that, not to take away from your music, but you're supposed to be listening to the lyrics. Sam is trying to deliver a message. and you need to focus on those lyrics. And I think that's the key difference between traditional folk music and this that you're doing here. The idea is that the music is in the background and that the lyrics are up front and that we can hear Sam's message. Good. So talk to me about where you guys going from here. These are original pieces.
Yes. So we don't really have a solid name yet, but we're probably going to call it Samantha Page Music and Poetry. So once we create a Facebook page, or that's probably the name, it'll be under Samantha Page Music
So the
and Poetry.
page is for the page for like an email page?
No, it's just like a Facebook page to promote our spoken
So it's not
word
like a
poetry.
name, people are going to get confused and think your name is Samantha Page.
Well, my name is Samantha Page, actually. So we're taking my first and my middle name and
all right.
making it Samantha Page Music and
Okay,
Poetry.
so Page is your middle name?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes.
So it's Samantha Page Apicella.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. Oh, I get it now. Took a little while to get in there, but I get it.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's good. It's a play on that too,
Yeah.
and it's a Facebook page.
Yeah, it's going to be. And also for now, as you saw probably under the screen, we have my YouTube channel, which is Drama Queen, and instead of the three E's, you have threes.
Yeah, and I think we have that up on
you
screen.
have, and the reason why I had them list that was because we do a musical cover on that page of the song Kryptonite by Three Doors Down, and I have a personal vlog, if anybody follows vlogs or vlogging, so people could follow that in the
Wonderful.
meantime. And eventually, we'll probably have videos of our spoken word uploaded onto that YouTube channel as well.
So you're encouraging contact.
Mm-hmm.
You want those people out there to hear you and to contact you. And if you've got any ideas, if you have a coffee house somewhere, if you have a coffee house idea, if you have a coffee shop that you want to turn into a coffee house, now's the time.
Exactly. More important than hearing us, we want people to come out and see us because the revival, like you were talking about, a revival is impossible unless people come out to see it.
Right.
And we really think that live we project a lot better of an image than you would ever hear us.
There's something to be
rehearsing.
said about listening to music at home in your living room. There's something else to be said about seeing the artist perform.
Yeah.
And it's a big difference. When MTV and some of these other music channels came about, I was amazed to see what these people looked like. I mean, I honestly didn't know what a Mick Jagger looked like until I saw some of these music channels and said, oh my God, that's Mick Jagger? And some of these other, Janis Joplin. And to see them perform is a whole different experience than just listening to a CD.
Yeah.
So you're right. You're right. And it gives you a chance to perform and see your audience and see what's working and not working. You know, and that happens to me sometimes when I do my books. You know, I do my book talks, and at least once or twice and maybe 10 times, when I see that audience's face, I know what is working with them and not working with them. So it's important.
And that's especially important for somebody like me. I'm very new to this spoken word poetry sort of thing. I've been in various rock bands over my, short music career that I've had. And this is a little different, and I enjoy it. I love doing different things. I love doing different kinds of music, and it's just something that really I'm still getting used to, but I'm loving at the same time.
So here's a big question for the two of you: will you be live anywhere soon?
Well, not as of yet, but we usually try to get to, if anybody goes to the Peekskill Coffee House.
Peekskill Coffee House.
Yeah, they have an open mic once a month. It's usually towards the end of the month, and it's usually on a Saturday. So we usually try to get to that once a month.
So, okay.
We'll have
So-
everything listed online, though, on the Facebook page.
So they can go to your Facebook page and they can see you perform there.
Yeah, well, we don't have any tapes yet from that, but the next time we
Well, hurry up and get them on there.
the next time we perform, we'll upload something definitely.
Trust me, people will know about it.
And
when we're
everybody
gonna
will see this
perform next.
video too. So
Good, yes. You get this one. And direct people to it so that they know what you're about, who you are, what you do, and how you do it. get yourself booked. Go to some of these coffee houses, get out there, get seen, so people could really know what it is you do and how well you do it. Any last messages, words? Do you have an upcoming new one coming soon?
Well, we have been working on a new song. It's a little different. It's acoustic guitar with the spoken word. I'd like to say it's a more tranquil song. It's not as not as
Serious.
bluesy, not as funky.
Right.
It's a little more
whimsical.
a little more relaxing.
And whimsical.
And it has a different vibe to it, which is nice because I like to change it up with the music every once in a while. But that should be coming soon, and
Excellent.
we'll be performing that.
Well, we're going to watch for Sam Apicella and Ben Eisenkraft. Those names, hopefully, are going to be household names one of these days soon.
Maybe.
I want you to keep doing what you're doing. And I want you to watch for these guys. You're seeing it here for the first time. Watch those names, watch these faces, listen to their spoken word, and thank you for tuning in to One on One with Vin Dacquino, Ben Eisenkraft, and Sam Apicella. Guys, thank you so much for being here.